What's a Halloween costume so bad you still remember it years later? He showed up in a costume made entirely out of crinkled plastic bags. Everyone thought it was a joke, until he said he spent $80 on it. That was October 2006. I remember because it was the last Halloween party I ever attended. Not because of the costume, not directly, but because of everything that spiraled out after. Back then, I was a junior in college, living in a shared rental house with 3 other guys. The kind of place where the fridge smelled like regret and the couch had stains no one wanted to claim. We weren't exactly party people, but my roommate Connor had a girlfriend, Haley, and she was the social one. She practically forced us to throw the party. Said it would be good for the house. Whatever that meant. So we bought some lights, cleared the living room, put up the usual plastic skeletons and fake cobwebs, and made a playlist that was 70% early 2000s pop punk with some Monster Mash thrown in for irony. Haley did most of the decorating. She was always into things like that, scrapbooking, themed drinks, matching outfits. She even labeled the snacks. Zombie Chex Mix, Mummy Dogs. You get the idea. Anyway, the night was going pretty well at first. People showed up in costumes ranging from lazy to obnoxiously elaborate. There were 2 Jack Sparrows, a sexy Pikachu, a guy wrapped in duct tape calling himself the Human Fix-It, and one of my professors in a full Dracula get-up that was frankly too convincing. I was dressed as a scarecrow, which meant I'd tied some straw to an old flannel and wore a beat-up hat I found in our basement. It wasn't original, but it got me through the door. It was around 10:30 when he showed up. I didn't recognize him at first. He came in through the side gate, which was weird. Most people used the front door. He didn't knock, didn't say anything. Just walked right in, trailing the sound of crackling plastic behind him. The costume was confusing. It looked like he'd stitched together dozens of grocery store bags. All colors, white, gray, blue, the occasional yellow one with thank you printed in faded red. They rustled every time he moved. His face was painted silver, which didn't match the outfit at all, and over his mouth, he'd taped a strip of clear cling wrap. Not tightly, just enough to make you squint at him for a second longer than you should. People laughed at first. Someone yelled, "Yo, you come from the recycling bin?" And another guy joked about suffocating hazards. He didn't respond, just stood there by the snack table for a solid minute, not touching anything, not speaking. Then he said, "This cost me $80. Dead serious. No smile. I was standing nearby with Haley when he said it. She turned to me and said, "Wait, is he your friend?" I shook my head. Connor came over, asked the same question. No one knew who he was. He wasn't in any of our classes, not in our friend circles, not even from the dorms we used to hang out at. Still, no one kicked him out. It's weird how that happens at parties. As long as someone doesn't actively ruin the vibe, they're allowed to exist in the periphery, even if something feels off. And he did feel off. Like a low-grade buzz in your teeth. But everyone was a little drunk, a little distracted. So he stayed. For the next hour, he barely moved. He didn't drink, didn't dance, didn't even sit. He just stood near the hallway, right between the bathroom and the coat closet, arms at his sides like he was waiting for something. Occasionally, someone would try to talk to him. They'd get a few words in before giving up. He wasn't rude, he just gave these strange, slow answers that didn't go anywhere. Like one guy asked what he was supposed to be, and he said, "An imitation." That was it. Just an imitation. Around midnight, people started leaving. I was helping clean up empty cups when I realized I hadn't seen Haley in a while. Connor said she went to lie down upstairs, too much sangria. So I went to check on her. She wasn't in our room. Or the bathroom. I knocked on her bedroom door, no answer. But the light was on. I opened it. She was standing in the middle of the room. Facing the corner, shaking. Not violently, just small, fast tremors, like she was freezing. I asked if she was okay. No answer. Then she turned around, and I saw her eyes. They were wide, glassy, locked on something behind me. I spun around. No one was there, just the hallway. She pointed toward the stairs and whispered, "He went through the wall." I didn't know what that meant. I thought she was drunk, hallucinating maybe. I helped her lie down and told Connor to stay with her. I went back downstairs to find the guy. But he was gone. A few people were still lingering, but no one remembered him leaving. No one saw him walk out. No one even saw him move from the hallway. But the spot where he'd been standing, it smelled weird. Like melting plastic. And under the coat rack, I found one of the bags from his costume. Torn, half burned at the edge. Still warm. We laughed about it later. Called him Plastic Man. A running joke. But Haley never thought it was funny. She wouldn't talk about it at all. Not then, not months later, and after they broke up, she completely cut contact with everyone from that party. Then, 2 years later, I found a note tucked into a used textbook I bought from the campus library. It was in her handwriting. One sentence. He said I looked like the one they lost. I still have it, still don't know what it means. But sometimes, late at night, I hear that sound again. Crinkling plastic. From the hallway. And every Halloween since, I lock my closet before bed. Even though I know that's not where he came from. I stopped going to parties after that. At first, it wasn't even a conscious choice. I'd tell myself I was too busy, or too tired, or that I just wasn't in the mood. But really, I just couldn't stop thinking about that sound. That crinkling. That slow, dragging shuffle of plastic on hardwood floors. The more I tried to forget, the more details I remembered. Like how the guy never blinked. I'm not exaggerating, I've replayed that night in my head 1,000 times. And not once do I remember him blinking. His eyes weren't wide, either, just still. Focused. Not on anything in particular. More like he was waiting to recognize something. Or someone. For a while, I told myself he was just some weirdo. Every college party has one. A guy who takes the joke too far. But then came the other things. About 6 months later, in early April, I was walking home from a night class. It was around 10:00 p.m., a little foggy, streets empty. I cut through a side alley behind the campus bookstore, something I'd done 100 times. That's when I saw it. A single plastic bag, caught in a chain link fence. Pale gray, nothing unusual, it was windy that night. But as I walked past it, I swear I heard a voice. Not loud, not clear, but low and stretched like it had to travel a long way to reach me. It said, "Not yet." I froze, looked around, no one there. I left the alley, walked the rest of the way home in silence, and told myself it was the wind. Just the wind through torn plastic. But I started noticing more bags after that. In weird places. Under my car. Tied around tree branches in the shape of rings. Once, a bundle of 3, knotted together, on my pillow when I came home from class. I lived alone. I stopped sleeping well. I'd wake up sweating, heart racing, certain I'd heard someone moving through the house. But nothing was ever there. No footprints. No broken locks. Just the bags. Always the bags. The worst was a night in July, when I heard someone walking up and down the hall outside my apartment. Slow, methodical. Step, pause, crinkle. Step, pause, crinkle. When I finally worked up the courage to open the door, no one was there. But taped to my doorknob, using what looked like melted cling wrap, was a note. "They're still looking." I thought about Haley. I hadn't spoken to her since the note in the book. I tried to find her on social media, nothing. No posts, no photos, no digital trail at all. It was like she'd vanished. I called Connor. He hadn't heard from her since the breakup. Said she blocked him. That didn't surprise me. Their breakup had been messy, but it still didn't feel right. Then came Halloween, 2007. I didn't go out. I didn't even buy candy. I stayed inside with the lights off, phone silenced, windows shut. But at 10:43 p.m., same time as the party the year before, my phone lit up. Unknown number. No caller ID. Just one message. "We remember her." And a photo. It was blurry, grainy, looked like it was taken in motion. But I could make out 3 figures. One in the foreground, hunched and wrapped in plastic, arms loose at his sides. Behind him, 2 others, smaller. Standing just behind an open door. A closet door. It looked like my closet door. I checked. It was closed. But behind it, silence. No breathing, no movement, just stillness. And something wet, like condensation, or breath on plastic. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, the message was gone. No trace. No entry in my text history. I called the number, disconnected. By Christmas, I'd moved again. Different city, different job, new phone number. And for a while, nothing. Peace. Until 2 years ago, when I took a job at a nonprofit in Oregon. During orientation, we had to go around the room and share something unique about ourselves. Just a harmless icebreaker. One of the girls, maybe mid-20s, quiet voice, long sleeves, said, "I used to work in costume design for an art collective. We built pieces from trash. Found objects. That kind of thing." I don't know why I asked. I wish I hadn't. But I said, "Did you ever do a Halloween show?" She blinked. Once. In 2006. We had this guy who wore nothing but plastic bags. Said it was about waste and repetition. Creeped everyone out. I asked what happened to him. She frowned. That's the weird part. He didn't work with us. We thought he was with you. That night, I got home and found a bag on my doormat. Tied at the top. Inside, a silver face paint tube. Empty. And a strip of cling wrap. No note. Just the faintest imprint of lips, like someone had pressed their mouth against the plastic before sealing it shut. So yeah, you asked what costume was so bad I still remember it? That one. The Plastic Man. I don't know who, or what, he was. But I don't think it was a costume. And I don't think he ever left. Because sometimes, when I walk past alleys on windy nights, I swear I see someone standing just inside the dark. Not moving, not blinking, just watching. And if you look too long, the bags start to move. Like they're breathing. I tried not to look at the bag on my doorstep. I left it there for 3 days. Every time I passed it on the way to work, I felt this pressure in my chest. Not fear exactly, more like a warning. Like if I opened it, really opened it, I'd be letting something out I couldn't put back in. But I couldn't leave it forever. Trash day came. The city's pretty strict about what gets left out. I didn't want a fine, or worse, attention. So I picked it up. It was light, too light, like it was full of air and nothing else. But I could feel the shape of something soft and misshapen shifting inside. I carried it to the dumpster behind the building, dropped it in, and walked away without looking back. But that night, it came back. I found it on my bed. Exactly the same knot, same stretch of cling wrap taped across the top. Only this time, there was a smell. Something sour, like burned glue and rotting fruit. I didn't open it. I threw it out again. This time, I walked 5 blocks to a public trash can near the highway on ramp and left it there. The next morning, it was on my kitchen counter. And now there was something written on it. Not with ink. It looked like the words had been scratched in with something sharp, right into the plastic. 4 words. She is not her. I didn't understand. I didn't want to. But I couldn't stop thinking about it. I started checking every bag I saw on the street. I'd walk past a grocery store and stare at the windblown bags caught in tree branches. Hoping, or maybe fearing, that one of them would have more writing. One day, I found one. Outside a bookstore. It was stuck under a tire in the parking lot. White, stretched thin, a faint logo printed on the side. But in the middle, scratched in the same crooked way. He made a mistake. That night, I dug out the old note Haley left in the textbook. I hadn't looked at it in years. But I still kept it in a drawer with my passport and a copy of my lease. He said I looked like the one they lost. That line. It started to click. Something started forming, slow and cold, in the pit of my stomach. The Plastic Man wasn't random. He didn't crash our party because he liked college snacks or cheap beer. He was looking for someone. Or something. And when he saw Haley, he thought he'd found it. But he hadn't. Because the next time, the time he came back, the bags weren't wrapped around him. They were empty, like suits waiting to be filled. I tried calling Connor again. This time he picked up. He sounded tired, older, like life had been hard on him since college. I asked if he ever heard from Haley. He paused, then said, not since 2014. I asked what happened. He said she emailed him once, totally out of the blue. The subject line was blank. The email body was a single sentence. If you ever hear crinkling near your door, don't open it. I asked if he kept the message. He said no, he deleted it in a panic, and the account she used disappeared right after. No trace. But he remembered the date. October 31st Street. He still remembered the exact time it came in, 10:43 p.m., same as the first party. Same as the text I got. Same as the photo from the hallway. That number, 10:43, it was like a marker. A checkpoint. And that's when I realized something else. All the bags, all the ones I'd seen since, they always came right before Halloween. Never in spring, never in summer, always in that last week of October. Always silent, always closer. I started keeping track, made a spreadsheet, took photos, logged timestamps. It was like a countdown, like a fuse burning slow. And last year, for the first time, the number changed. The bag that appeared on October 30th, on my bed, again, had new writing. Not a message, just a number. 2. I didn't know what it meant. Not then, but I think I do now. It's counting down. To what, I still don't know. But this morning, October 30th again, there was another bag. This one was different, heavier, slick. Inside it was a mask. Silver painted, cracked around the edges, mouth covered in cling wrap. The same face the Plastic Man wore. But inside the mask, taped with yellowing paper, were 2 words. You're next. And now, the number 1. So whatever's been waiting all these years, whatever showed up at our party pretending to be something funny, something stupid, something forgettable, it's not done. It's closer. And it hasn't forgotten. I don't know what it wants. I don't know who they are. But I think tomorrow night, at 10:43, I'm going to find out. Or maybe, finally remember. I haven't slept since the mask arrived. Not because I'm scared, although I am. But because I can't. Every time I try, the same dream pulls me in. Not a nightmare. Not exactly. Just the same repeating scene, over and over, like a video stuck on a loop. I'm in a room I don't recognize. It's narrow, windowless, lit by a single bare bulb swinging above me. There's a chair in the middle. The kind you'd see in a hospital waiting room. Hard plastic, metal legs. On the chair, the costume. Not worn, just resting there. A pile of plastic bags, gray, white, yellow. The cling wrap mask sitting neatly on top. And beneath it, something underneath the bags, shifting ever so slightly. Like something alive is curled up under them, breathing very softly. The light swings, and the shadow on the wall doesn't match what's in the room. It's taller, standing, watching me from a place that doesn't exist. When I wake up, I always smell plastic. Burnt, and the bags in my apartment have started multiplying. At first, it was just the one. Then two. Then last night, there were 5, all knotted together like linked limbs. I cut them open. Nothing inside, but each one had a word written on it in the same scratchy scrawl. She was the costume. First, that's what broke me, because I suddenly remembered something from that Halloween. Something I hadn't thought about in years. Haley didn't plan to wear a costume that night. She told us she wasn't feeling it. Said she just wanted to wear normal clothes and drink with friends. But about 15 minutes before the party started, she disappeared upstairs. Came back down wearing a silver dress. Not metallic, not flashy, just silver, plain, tight, plastic looking, no explanation. When Connor asked what she was supposed to be, she just smiled and said, "A reflection." We laughed it off, thought it was just a last-minute throw together. But now I'm not so sure she chose it. What if she didn't find that costume? What if it found her? I've started seeing people that aren't there. Reflections that don't match. Bags moving when there's no wind. And last night, something else happened. At 10:43 p.m., my apartment lights all flickered. Every single bulb, for exactly 10 seconds. And when they came back on, the door to my hallway closet was open. I never leave it open. Inside, on the floor, was the silver mask. But now, something was written on the inside. You remember now. And I do. God help me, I do. I remember the moment it entered. It wasn't during the party. It was after. Long after everyone left. After we cleaned up and crashed on the couch. Sometime around 3:00 a.m., I got up to use the bathroom. I passed the coat closet. It was slightly open. I reached to close it, but before I could, I heard the sound again. Crinkle, not like a bag moving. More like a bag exhaling. And a whisper from the darkness. She wasn't enough. I slammed the door shut. But I never told anyone. I buried it, just like I buried everything else. And now it's all coming back. Because I think this thing in the costume, it's not just hunting. It's collecting costumes, faces, identities. It wears people like we wear clothes. And when it's done with one, it sheds them, like bags in the wind. Like Haley, I don't think she disappeared. I think she was emptied. I think she became the first costume. And now, I'm next. I haven't left the apartment in 3 days. I turned off my phone, taped over the windows, pushed the couch in front of the hallway closet. And I've barely eaten, not because I'm trying to be symbolic or dramatic. It's just, I can't. There's no hunger anymore, just waiting, like my body already knows what's coming. Like it's preparing for something. The bags keep coming. Every night, I wake up and there's another one, in the sink, inside the fridge, once even hanging from the back of the bathroom door like a towel. They don't rustle anymore. They breathe. They actually breathe now. It's subtle, this rising and falling motion, like a chest under a thin blanket. I've recorded it, played it back, slowed it down, zoomed in. It's real. They're not alive, exactly. But they're not just plastic anymore. And last night, for the first time, one of them moved. Not slid, not fell, moved. I saw it from the corner of my eye. A gray grocery bag curled itself into a tight knot, then straightened again, like stretching before a run. And this time, it had a message. You are the last one left. At first, I didn't understand. But then I remembered everyone else. Connor? Dead in 2015. Overdose. Heroin. We all said it didn't make sense, he wasn't using. The professor from the party? Car accident. Burned alive. The paper said something melted the seatbelt. 3 other guests from that night? 1 missing. 1 institutionalized. 1 found drowned in their own bathtub, lungs filled with air, not water. And Haley? I don't even think she was Haley at the end. I think she was something wearing her skin. Something testing the fit, which leaves me, just me. 10:43 is tonight. And the mask is no longer just a symbol. It's waiting. I keep finding it in different places, and each time it's closer. 2 nights ago, it was in the living room. Last night, the foot of my bed. Tonight, it's already in my hands. I didn't pick it up. I woke up, and it was just there. Fingers curled around it, like I'd been holding it all night. And on the inside, where the old words used to be, now it says, "Put me on." And I know what happens if I do. I feel it. Not death. Not even possession, really. Something worse. Replacement. Like I'll step out of myself, and something else will slide in. Something thin and patient and hollow, something that's been playing this game for years, wearing face after face. But I also know what happens if I don't. The bags will keep coming. The mask will stay, and someone else, someone random, someone innocent, will take my place. Because this thing needs a costume. And if I won't give it one, it'll find its own. I tried to burn the mask tonight. I lit the oven, turned on the burner, dropped it in a cast iron pan. The fire didn't catch. The flames moved around it like water around a rock. No heat, no smoke, just this low, vibrating sound, like 1,000 whispers talking over each other in plastic. I threw water on it. Nothing. The mask stayed perfectly dry. Then the stove turned itself off. The digital clock blinked. 10:41. I'm writing this because I think this might be the last thing I do as myself. I can feel it pressing behind the closet door. It's not even trying to hide anymore. The handle is slowly turning back and forth, like someone figuring out the rhythm of a lock. I pushed the couch tighter. It won't matter. Nothing will. Because this thing doesn't break in. It waits for the invitation. And I think I gave it mine 17 years ago, when I laughed at the guy in the costume. When I thought he was just weird. Just awkward. Just someone forgettable. But he remembered me, and now he's back to finish the fitting. It's 10:42 now. The lights are flickering. The plastic bags have stopped moving. They're all still, listening, and I can hear it breathing again. Right outside the door. Same cadence. Same crinkle. It doesn't need to ask. It knows I'll open it. Because I have to. Because I always have. Because the post ends here. The post ends here. That's what it looked like on the screen after my laptop restarted. But I didn't write that. I didn't shut the computer off. I didn't move. I was still sitting in the same chair in the kitchen, the mask on the table, my hands trembling inches from the keyboard. But somehow, the post was closed. Draft saved. Timestamp locked. 10:43 p.m. That's when it happened. Not with a bang. Not with anything dramatic. No lightning. No breaking glass. Just a single, deafening silence. The kind that sinks into your teeth and fills your bones with a hollow ringing. The kind of silence that makes you realize how loud the world normally is. And in that silence, I heard a click. Soft, like the closing of a child's toy box. The handle of the closet door. I didn't move. I couldn't. Not paralyzed, just agreed. Like something in me had already decided long before I caught up. The couch didn't stop it. The door opened like there was never a lock. And then, he stepped out. Same height, same silver paint on his face. Same cling wrap mouth. But the bags, they weren't just clothes anymore. They were skin. Somehow fused, melted, wrinkled flesh made of shopping bags and static electricity. His hands were bare now. Pale, translucent, fingers slightly too long, like someone who had been stretched slowly, over time. But it wasn't even the body that froze me. It was the eyes. Not glowing, not red, not hollow, just human. My eyes. He stepped closer and didn't speak. He didn't need to. I understood. He wasn't trying to kill me. He wasn't even here to scare me. He was relieving me, taking his turn, continuing the cycle, fulfilling something that I had agreed to a long time ago, maybe even before that Halloween party. Maybe before birth. Maybe some people are just marked. And I was marked. I don't remember the moment it happened, but I remember the exchange. Like a weight leaving your chest. Like sinking into a warm bath. 1 second I was in my body. The next, I wasn't. I was looking at myself. Not from above, from across the room. And I smiled. It wasn't sinister. It wasn't kind. It was tired, like someone who had carried a box too far and finally reached the doorstep. Then everything went black. No pain, no fear, just a crinkling sound in total darkness. And then, I woke up, but not in my apartment. Not in a hospital, not anywhere I recognized. It was a room, windowless, flickering light overhead, same as the dream. And on the chair in front of me, a new costume. Not plastic this time, cloth, faded red, torn at the shoulder, still warm, folded neatly, waiting, and beside it, a mask. Not silver, mine, my face, cold and waxy, like it had been sculpted from memory and left to dry. I screamed. No one heard. I hit the walls. No door, just 4 blank sides and the smell of glue and rot. I don't know how long I stayed there. Hours, days, could have been weeks. Time is meaningless in a place like that. Eventually, I fell asleep. And when I woke up, I was back. In my apartment. Same chair, same table, same blinking cursor on the screen. The mask gone. The closet sealed, but the calendar said November 3rd. 3 days missing. I looked in the mirror. Nothing had changed, but everything had. Because now, I feel it. In my muscles. In my skin. This hum, low and constant, like plastic under pressure. Like static waiting to arc. And I understand now what he was. What I am becoming. Not possessed. Not replaced. Just worn. Like a borrowed outfit. Like the next costume in a line of thousands. You don't become the plastic man all at once. You become him one crinkle at a time. And now the countdown resets. I found a bag under my bed this morning. Empty. Clean. Inside it, folded tight. A note. Handwritten, shaky, like a child learning how to form letters. 1 year, 1 night, 1 more to wear. I know what it means. I have 362 days until the next fitting. Until I choose who wears the mask next. Because that's the rule. It must be passed. Not destroyed. Not discarded. Passed. If you break the chain, it breaks you instead. You don't die. You just become the bag. One of them. Folded. Waiting. In closets and gutters and alleyways. Waiting for some idiot at a party to laugh too loud at the wrong costume. So yeah, you asked what the stupidest Halloween costume I've ever seen was? It was a man in grocery bags. A joke at first. A nightmare forever. And if, someday, you find a plastic bag hanging from your doorknob, tied in 3 loops, don't touch it, don't laugh, and for the love of whatever's left of you, don't put it on.